Hello friends, Tal here, and today we're going to be making a quick little video just to talk about the latest Legion beta build that was released, beta build 21796. This was released on May 26th, which was Thursday. Nothing too crazy going on, just a couple of minute changes to some of the tank classes. Biggest change, in my opinion, is the fact that Tome of the Tranquil Mind now exists, which is going to make it easier for the individual to adjust talents while not in combat, because apparently Blizzard's going full ham on this whole use an expensive item to change your talents. Which just means that you have the big tome, which is going to be for raid groups, and this one's going to be for when you're by yourself. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you will play the game the same way. You'll switch out talents whenever you want. It's not going to be a big deal. The only difference is you're going to have to use an item right before. Honestly, that's something that I think Blizzard needs to realize is going to happen. We are still going to switch talents every fucking minute or so when we're doing different things. It's just how the game that they made works, which I don't understand why the rationale is that they want to do this whole big problem with the items and switching your talents out. But whatever. At the end of the day, I'm gonna have a bunch of these tomes in my bags, and it's gonna be the same thing either way. So that's that. But at least they made it a little bit easier than not being total assholes about it. Anyways, as far as changes to the tanks go, they have a couple of Demon Hunter changes. If you look down here on Vengeance, they changed Sigil of Flame from a recharge to just a 30-second cooldown. All this means is that before in the artifact traits, they used to have some charges for Sigil of Flame, and they removed that, so they just went ahead and fixed it, changed it back to a non-charge system. It's just a background thing. It's not something to be worried about. It's not something to really pay attention to. But other than that, then you have Blade Turning is going to be changed that when you parry an attack while Demon Spikes is active, because remember, Demon Spikes increases your parry chance as well as reducing the damage that you take. But when you parry an attack while Demon Spikes is active, it increases the pain generation of your next shear by 100%. Um, I see this as being really good if you know like that tier didn't really have too much competition, but this is going to be making your pain generation go up by a very huge amount, especially because you're very likely to be parrying attacks while you have demon spikes up. It just increases your parry. So it's a good change. Ultimately, it's going to make your resource generation easier, especially at level 99, because again, one of my issues with Demon Hunters is just that you don't have the full experience until you're level 110. So something to keep in mind. Good change overall. They did go ahead and nerf one of the artifact traits though, so that you increase your parry chance by an additional 10% for the first 3 seconds after you activate Demon Spikes instead of 30%. So just reducing your parry chance a bit. I'm assuming some of it has to do with the fact that they buffed Blade Turning. They don't want you to be, getting too many shears. But either way, it's more like a balancing thing. It's not as big of a deal, especially since it's an artifact trait. One other really good change is that they reduced the cooldown on Consume Magic by 5 seconds to a 50-second cooldown. Not only does it bring it in line with other interrupts, but again, you are getting your resource when you interrupt. Anytime on a fight that you have an interrupt situation where you have to have a rotation, if you're not instantly raising your hand saying me, you're doing it wrong. You get 50 pain when you interrupt. You need to be in every interrupt rotation, and you have to be selfish about it. You have to be a fucking dick about it. You have to say, no, I want the first interrupt. I want the next interrupt. Don't you fucking take my interrupt. You need to start yelling at people when they take your interrupts because it gives you pain. You got to be focused on that. That's the kind of mindset that you have to be playing with, as well as just increasing the damage that Fell Eruption does by a bit. It's just going to be doing a little bit more damage. It looks like they changed. As far as Death Knights go, I'm not happy about this change. So what they did is that they nerfed Deathstrike. Deathstrike already feels shitty to use. It doesn't heal for as much as you're used to. In fact, it feels like Consumption is the big meaty Deathstrike just without Blood Shield attached. And it definitely feels like I guess I don't know how to explain it. It just Deathstrike when you're playing with it, it doesn't feel good to use, and you only have one runic power user, so you have to use Deathstrike. But as you use it, you just every time you use it, you get nostalgic about what it used to be like, and it doesn't feel great. It really doesn't. Nerfing the amount that it heals you from 30% of the damage that you took in the last 5 seconds to 20%, it's ultimately not a huge change because it goes from like about the heal is not that big to begin with. So nerfing it a little more is really not changing it by that much. it just feels bad that they're sticking to their guns when it comes to this, and I'm saddened by it. I really am. Going down into Druid, I think the only real change that they did was that they made it so that when you choose Feral Affinity as any of the Druid specs, your energy regeneration is increased by 35%. Just further cementing that when you go into this Feral Affinity, if you choose it, you will be about 80% of a real cat druid. You know, you'll be doing a decent amount of damage. You'll have the energy regen to keep going. It's good. It's ultimately good. So you can see here under Guardians. They also changed Pulverize to reduce all damage you take by 8% instead of 15%. Now, Pulverize is already very easy to keep up. It's not a difficult thing to do. Guardian Druids overall have so much damage reduction from so many different areas that they were overpowered. Even with this change, Guardian Druids are still going to be very solid, but I like that they're taking measured cuts at the Guardian Druid. They're not. Blizzard has this negative, I guess, stereotype that they pendulum swing all the time. They go from too strong to too weak, and they take gigantic slashes and huge buffs, and it causes a balancing nightmare. And I'm enjoying the fact that they've been slowly cutting away at the Guardian Druid, keeping the core idea there, which is what makes it so powerful, but just taking some of the side things away slowly, reducing the amount of damage that they're able to reduce, and ultimately putting them in a balanced state. I'm happy that this is happening because, you know, nobody wants one tank spec to be overpowered above all the other ones, but at the same time they're not murdering the Guardian Druid spec, which is good to see. After that, I don't think any of the other tanks really got too much of a change. Expel Harm is being changed to do damage for 10% of the amount that you heal instead of 1% because 1% is laughable. 10% is nice. I still have issues with the way that Healing Spheres is created. Niu Zhao now has an AoE because he frequently stomps, damaging all nearby enemies, just like Zuen had his Tiger Lightning, so that's good. Niu Zhao has an AoE damage that he does now. Fantastic in my opinion. I don't think Protection Paladins got too much changed. Well, that's clearly an error right there. Final Stand. It looks like Final Stand's not going to be reducing the cooldown Divine Shield by 50% anymore. And Hand of the Protector, the cooldown is being changed from 50 seconds to 10 seconds, thereby encouraging you to take this because you're going to be able to use your heal more often. I'm actually really interested in that change. I really hope that your Light of the Protector still gets all the bonuses. Your Hand of the Protector gets all the bonuses Light of the Protector used to get, making this 10 times better, especially if you're just reducing the cooldown by 5 seconds straight up. I mean, that's just good. That's straight up just good. Let's see here. I think that every time I say I think that might be it, I find something else to talk about. So that's for arms. Fury, poor protection gets fucking nothing because protection is the redheaded stepchild of the tanks. Yeah. So I mean, nothing too bad. What the hell is this? Okay. Well, anyways, yeah. I mean, overall, just a couple of balancing changes to Guardian as well as Vengeance. Little bit of a buff to Brewmaster, not a huge buff, just buff to like 2 of the abilities. But overall, not a major patch. Death Knights, I'm so sorry for you. You're just getting shit on. But yeah. That's the quick little update here for the latest Legion beta build. I hope you guys like this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more. I'm going to be doing videos like this all the time for all the little patches, as long as they have important changes to the tanks. It's not a really big thing. It's just a nice, quick, easy thing to do. The only other thing I want to go ahead and mention, guys, is I'm trying to figure out a schedule for streaming, but I don't know where I want to do that. I don't know if I'm trying to decide between Twitch or if I'm trying to do it on YouTube Gaming. So keep an eye out for that. And if you like this video, you like everything that I'm making, feel free to go ahead and maybe, I think it's donate to, I think it's fan funding that it is on YouTube. I don't know. But anyways, guys, I hope you like this. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you around.